Hello ladies and gentlemen, Xcentor here and welcome back to another YouTube video. Now before I do start, I apologise for low graphics. I'm just trying to see if it gives us a smoother video for this YouTube video. Now also, if you are new here, please feel free to like and subscribe. It does mean all the world to support you're showing me, so it means everything. So thank you much for all the support you're showing. Now in today's YouTube video, we're going to be looking at some of the best interior cabins in Infinite Flight. Now, I do acknowledge that the settings again today are not very well as my iPad is playing up, but we're going to be looking at some of the best interior cabins in Infinite Flight. Now, not many aircraft in Infinite Flight have an interior cabin. Some of them might be a shock to you as well. I believe some cabins will in today's video. But we're going to start off with the 777. Now, we're in the 777-200 LR right now, I believe, might be the ER. And this is the first cabin that I think is one of the best in Infinite Flight on the list. Now, it is coming in towards the end of the list due to the fact that most of it is just an empty cabin. Now, there are many reasons for this empty cabin. One of the main reasons being that it's just such a large aircraft, you'd have to load in so many seats for that. So that is a downside, but of course you get that with larger aircraft. But as you go through the gates, you do of course get the, a typical 777 economy class cabin. Now, because it's towards the front of the class, plane, I'd be hoping that Infinite Flight would have had like a business or a first class, just a different type of seat. But it's a very plain seat, no screens, well, sort of screens. I think they've tried to put stickers of screens on, but that's something you look forward to in the future. Again, there's sort of a screen over here. But for the 777 cabin as a whole here, it's looking like a pretty good cabin. Like, you got the food tables and the teas and the waters and all that. Of course, you do have the great cockpit as well, but that's not part of the cabin tour in today's YouTube video. And then also below, but which we are including in the cabin, you do have the cargo hold. So the doors do come open for all the cargo doors, as you can see down below in this bit. And then there is also another main bit, I think, just a little bit on here, again with another opening door. So cargo holds themselves in the Infinite Flight 777 are pretty good. But like I said, you only really have seats in the front bit of the aircraft, and nothing towards the back down here. Just a few more, foods and that. So again, that's a pretty good cabin in Infinite Flight in comparison to something which doesn't have a cabin like the A350. Okay, so the next aircraft I'm going to show you, we're looking at cabins, is in fact the CRJs. Now, the CRJs do have some pretty good cabins. So let's go to this one. Let's go with this livery as well. Now, I know I'm at Terminal 5, but British Airways are, because I had that earlier. But I do think the CRJs are definitely an underused aircraft within Infinite Flight. I think they've got a lot of potential. It's just very unfortunate they don't have a live cockpit, otherwise they'd be used much more. So I'll come back to you all once we're loaded in Infinite Flight. Okay, so we're all loaded in now. And let's just look at this. So first of all, just look at the cockpit. A very basic cockpit. I've shown it all to you many a times. Now the cabin here on the CRJ 900, I think we went for in the end. It's a full cabin. And it's again a typical cabin. Two seats. Again, like a normal CRJ. It's got the, I think there's been a good attention to detail, or a decent attention to detail, to the overhead storage bins. Again, the seats in here, they look quite comfortable. In comparison to the other ones. Now, unfortunately though, like I just shown you, when you go through the door at the back, you do get struck with a bit of a weird thing. Actually, I think that's meant to be there, but like I said, it's just a little bit empty, which is a bit disappointing. Now, do the cargo doors open? I don't even remember if they open. I don't. Oh, well, it came open very quick. So that, of course, is the cargo storage bit. Now, was it already? So yeah, there you go. It's got the sliding door. So that's again the cargo, and just underneath the plane here as well. If I can show you, there you go. So the cargo again is a very small, but again a small aircraft in general. But the doors don't seem to look like they will open. I don't think that will open. But like I said, in general, it is a great cockpit. We've even got a little miniature toilet. So I think that is some really good detail here. And this cabin as a whole, definitely one of the best in Infinite Flight, the CRJ cabin. So that's the CRJ cabin. Great livery, great everything. The door does open. There you go. Look, the door has opened. But we've, for some reason also put the jetway onto it. Whoops. So that's another great cabin in Infinite Flight. Now the next one we're going to do is a 717. Now this might get a few of you by shock. I don't think everyone quite expects a cabin when we load in the 717 in Infinite Flight, but you'll be surprised. You will be surprised. Despite being easily one of the worst aircraft in Infinite Flight commercial-wise, and the physics on this aircraft make it not far from impossible to land, the aircraft itself is quite manageable. So like I said, look at that cockpit, quite bad. But like I said, we are on low settings still, so that's something to take into consideration. But there is a cabin. It's not as good as the 777 cabin or the CRJ cabin, but there's a cabin. You know, there's seats inside the cabin. It exists. It's not just a void. And the windows, again, they work. Like, you can see outside with the windows. You can't see in with the windows very well. Like, you can, just not as clear as the other ones. But, you know, it works. And it is, again, here a cabin. So you've got through in there the cockpit, of course, and we can try and find a toilet. Don't think they put toilets in the cabin here. Or we are moving way too quick. I think this is the toilet. But again, yeah, like I said, no toilet in the cabin there. And we'll just check back here. There's nothing back here. But you'll be surprised because you then go underneath the cabin and there are cargo bins. Now, like I said, they're a bit weird. They do not open. I thought it was open for a second. I was very confused. So the cabin doors and that don't open. But as an aircraft, again, if you're looking to go into replay mode and get some good replay shots, you can just bonk in the cabin like this and you can get some really good views. So I think, again, in general, it's a great aircraft to have. With an interior. So if you agree with the 717, let me know. I don't think it's the best on the list, obviously by a long way, but I think again it is a great aircraft with a cabin. Now sticking with Boeing, and then we'll move on to Airbus. We've got the 757. Now it does look like I'm going through all of the aircraft with cabins, but of course some of these don't. Like the 767 doesn't have a cabin, I don't think, but it needs a lot of attention paid to it, hopefully in a future rework. So we've got British Airways 757 because we are at London Heathrow, so it just, to me, it just seems right to be in a British Airways plane. So we're now going to load in to this. So oh, there we go, straight away. Don't even need to make a cut. So 757. Look at this. Now this is a beautiful plane in general. It's a lovely aircraft, and we're just going to go straight into the cabin. Now I think this is probably one of the best cabins in Infinite Flight. Again, very similar chairs to the 777 that we had earlier, but the overhead bins, a lot more attention paid to them. But what this aircraft has is loading screens. Now I don't know if they work, so you can play games on them again mid-flight, but if I just do that and maybe turn the plane on, it might work, it might not work. I'm going to auto start the plane. Please no one get upset that I'm auto starting it, but I'm pretty sure they show you. There you go, look. So this little attention here, I chose Bournemouth as a random destination. It says welcome aboard your flight to Bournemouth and enjoy your flight to Bournemouth. It shows you the destination, the time to destination, so it shows you all of this cool stuff, and it works during flight as well. So I think that's a great addition that they've got to this cabin in general, which is why I think the 757 cabin here is actually probably a little bit better than some of the other cabins. This is definitely one of the best cabins with regards to attention to detail. Like I said, we've got the first class cabin. It would be cool if there were more comfier first class seats, but I do believe the entire aircraft has a cabin. Oh, and then of course we got the little food section back here, as you can see nice and clearly. We've got the food. Now the toilets should be here somewhere. If we can, let's go on a toilet. So we're now on a toilet hunt. There we go. Now, is there a toilet? Now, unfortunately, there isn't a toilet, but there was in the CRJ, I think, when we looked earlier. But like I said, this is definitely one of the best cabins in Infinite Flight. Now, moving on to the A220, a little favourite of my own. I love this aircraft. I adore this aircraft with everything. It's definitely my most favourite aircraft we have here in Infinite Flight. Just because it's a convenient little plane if you want to do some hops. So we just showed the little cabin in here, and just look at it. Wow! Now it's got the lovely little brown, black, comfy seats. I think in general, look, and all the seats even have their own little TV screens. Now, of course, they don't work, I don't think, but it'd be great in the future for Infinite Flight to add like films or games or even just videos of Infinite Flight like on the screens. I think that'd be a great addition for them to add into Infinite Flight in the near future. But look at this cabin, beautiful cabin, lovely cabin. You know, the doors and that, all of them open in this cabin as well. We've got the cargo hold below the aircraft, 2 of them I think, with opening doors. You know, you've got the nets there for a little bit of realism, so nothing falls when you open the cabin doors. There'll be another cabin door over here somewhere there, which hasn't seemed to open. It's a bit stinky. So that's that, and then the final aircraft, which I'm pretty sure has a cabin, is the A330 Neo. I'm pretty sure it's just the Neo with a cabin. Otherwise, I'm going to look a little bit silly for this video, aren't I? So here we are, we're in. Cancel that, go into here, and there we go. Now look at that. Now this is a monstrous cabin. Look at the size of it. The TVs have, again, sort of pictured on screens. We've got in here the food places. We got the extra seats for the flight hostesses. I think this cabin is massive. It's amazing. It's not quite a full aircraft cabin, again, probably due to reasons I said earlier. And the toilets don't exactly, you know, really exist, because that's not a toilet. That's why there's no toilet there. I don't see any toilets actually. Can we find a toilet? You a restroom? You are a restroom. See, there is no toilet, so I think that would be a good little attention to detail if they added it, but of course they haven't. But again, I think the A330 Neo has a great cabin in infant flight. Just look at the size of that view. Wow. So, if you did enjoy this video and you're new here, please make sure you like and subscribe. It means the world to me. And other than that though, I'll see you all in the next video. Good night.
Find your way into this wonderland, cross the